Have you ever found yourself struggling with impulses that seem impossible to control? Or perhaps you've experienced the frustration of trying to resist temptations that seem to be everywhere. Well, you're not alone. Today, we're going to explore an issue that affects many of us: the battle for sexual purity. Imagine being able to break free from the habits that hold you back and achieve true freedom. If you're ready to discover how to overcome these challenges, keep watching. My name is Gabriel, and I'm responsible for helping people reach high levels of spirituality, personal and psychological development, and being able to attract women solely through semen retention. If you're with me on this journey, join our community by leaving your like and subscribing to the channel. It's common for men to instinctively look around. Whether it's someone walking by with a graceful stride that catches our eye, or a colleague wearing attention-grabbing clothes, it's something that just happens. Perhaps you even indulge in pornography from time to time and then try to justify it. But is it really harmless? It's true that men often find satisfaction in visual stimuli. It's practically hardwired into us. The sight of nudity, or even just the suggestion of it, activates pleasure centers in our brains. While for women, touch and emotional connections may be more stimulating, for men, it's what we see that attracts us. That's why it's so natural to admire that attractive passerby, or feel excited when seeing a woman wearing lingerie, regardless of whether she's our partner or not. But just because something is natural doesn't mean it's morally right. As Christians, we're called to uphold a higher standard, God's standard. At the heart of it all is sexual purity. You might be wondering what that means in practice. Essentially, it involves finding sexual satisfaction exclusively within marriage, only with your spouse, and with no one and nothing else. So no, we can't desire other women, engage in self-pleasure, or consume pornography and think it's okay. The Bible is clear about this. There are no exceptions and no room for ambiguous interpretations. Throughout the New Testament, we find many passages emphasizing God's expectation for purity. Corinthians reminds us that our bodies are not meant for sexual immorality, but to serve the Lord. And in Matthew, Jesus warns us about the danger of lusting after a woman, equating it to adultery. These are just a few examples that clearly show there's no room for doubt. God calls us to avoid all forms of sexual immorality and to maintain purity in our thoughts, words, and actions. However, even with the best intentions, it can be a challenge for Christians to meet these standards. We live in a sex-saturated culture, with constant access to a plethora of images and videos. How do we resist temptation in a world where smartphones are always within reach? It's certainly not an easy task. However, armed with determination and perseverance, every man can overcome this daily battle. Let's explore some strategies to strengthen your defense in this ongoing fight. Let's take a look at Thomas' case. Thomas is a happy man, a father, and a devout Christian. On a Monday, while spending time at home with his young daughter, he faced a recurring temptation. While his daughter took an afternoon nap, Thomas found himself drawn to the computer for a session of pornography and self-pleasure. The temptation was strong, so how could Thomas overcome this habit? The key lay in recognizing it for what it was, a habit he had developed over time. With each session, Thomas was conditioning his brain. The influx of dopamine conditioned him to expect this stimulus every Monday, at dinner time, strengthening the fight against online temptation. To break free, Thomas needed to rewire his neural pathways. Thankfully, it wasn't as daunting as it seemed. The brain is remarkably malleable thanks to neuroplasticity. That's exactly what Thomas inadvertently did with his pornography habit. However, positive changes were also possible. The crucial key was that we have control over our habits. We are not just victims of them. Armed with this understanding, Thomas devised a list of alternative activities for Monday afternoons. He chose to do chores, reach out to friends, or listen to a sermon via podcast. Week after week, he consciously chose alternatives instead of succumbing to the seduction of the computer screen. Gradually, Thomas dissociated Monday dinner time from sexual satisfaction. By consistently making different choices, he rewired his brain and broke the habit. Thomas' success relied on a series of deliberate decisions and the implementation of a similar approach, which you too can adopt. Reflect on your own habits that are not aligned with sexual purity, whether it's pornography or indulgent fantasies about others. Remember how these habits took root. Now is the time for transformation. Changes don't happen overnight, so be patient. Significant changes often occur after 6 weeks of consistent dedication. Remember, you have the power to change. It all begins with a decision followed by consistent actions. And with each virtuous choice, you align yourself more with the teachings of God. So why wait? Let's now explore a strategy to assist you on your journey towards purity. But before that, let's delve into the rationale behind it. To recap, our goal is sexual purity. This entails finding satisfaction only within the bounds of marriage. However, there are several potential sources of satisfaction. Some are visual, such as images, videos, or real encounters with women. Others are mental, including thoughts and private fantasies. Consider this: masturbation is a symptom of impurity, not the root cause. Typically, the root lies in a visual source, like online pornography, or a mental source, like erotic fantasies. To achieve purity, it's necessary to shield our eyes and mind from these stimuli. Therefore, we must establish a defense, which starts with our gaze. An effective practice is known as averting the gaze. Here's how it works. You train your eyes to quickly avert from sensual sights and images. See a woman wearing provocative clothing. Immediately avert your gaze. Encounter a provocative billboard. Immediately shift your focus. Essentially, avert your gaze repeatedly until it becomes reflexive. With practice, this should become as natural as removing your hand from a hot stove. You're accustomed to directing your gaze towards women and sensual images. This is taught as the default behavior for men. However, despite societal normalization, this behavior promotes the objectification of women and contradicts the teachings of God. Consequently, it's a habit that needs to be unlearned. To aid in this practice, identify your own triggers. Where do you feel your gaze is most drawn? Ponder on this and make a list of specific stimuli, such as certain types of advertisements, women wearing revealing clothing, or online pornography. Once you've identified your triggers, develop a defense mechanism. What will you do when confronted with a trigger? For instance, suppose you're tempted by attractive women, a scenario a writer faced. To combat this, he employed some tactics that you too could adopt. Initially, he averted his gaze and used his peripheral vision to avoid fixating on temptation. Secondly, whenever the urge to indulge in such looks arose, he immediately reprimanded himself for violating a commitment, an agreement he would make between himself and God. The use of this concept of commitment served as a cornerstone in maintaining his commitment to purity. When temptation arose, he remembered the promise he had made. You can implement these strategies for your own triggers, regardless of the context. With perseverance and practice, this will become more manageable. Eventually, the attraction may disappear completely. Let's explore one of the most urgent challenges men face: pornography. Pornography has surged like never before, facilitated by technological advancements, providing unprecedented access to explicit images and videos. At the same time, the landscape of pornography has shifted, with the idea of hardcore content evolving into something disturbing, often including sadomasochism and misogyny. In essence, pornography is pervasive and escalating to extremes. What comprises this is indicated by studies showing that regular consumption of pornography can rewire our brains, making it easier to get excited from videos than from real interactions. As a result, there's an increase in erectile dysfunction among young people. Despite efforts to rationalize pornography as harmless, reality speaks differently. Repeated exposure to pornographic material alters sexual preferences and can harm intimacy with a partner. It's a disturbing revelation, but the solution is simple. Treat pornography addiction for what it is, an addiction, and commit to quitting once and for all. The decision not only brings spiritual benefits, but also a tangible sexual reward. Remember, stepping away from pornography often leads to an increased desire for your partner. A writer experienced this firsthand when he stopped entertaining thoughts about other women. Suddenly, his wife became irresistibly attractive, and their sex life was revitalized despite years of marriage. This transformation reflects a healthy dynamic, a sexual desire, and intimate relationships within the bounds of God's guidelines. Free from distractions, direct your attention entirely to your wife. For long-term married couples, this offers an opportunity to reignite intimacy. An effective method is to engage in skin-to-skin exercises. Choose a relaxed TV program to watch together, completely unclothed, in a laid-back setting side by side. Refrain from physical contact during viewing and promote true intimacy and connection. Dedicate time after the program to intimately connect with your wife. Proceed slowly and without intent to arouse, focusing solely on deepening your bond. Pay attention to her responses, prioritize her needs. These experiences pave the way for deeply intimate sexual encounters. In summary, eliminate pornography from your life. Channel your attention exclusively to your spouse and enjoy unhurried intimacy. By slowing down, you accelerate the process of rewiring your brain and achieve true freedom from lasting habits. Embrace this journey toward true liberation. As a Christian man, you may feel that sexual impurity is beyond your control. Despite societal pressure and the workings of your own mind, you remain in control. At its core, it's about aligning your decisions with God's desires, such as abandoning pornography. Choose to break free from harmful habits and commit to moving forward. Perseverance is crucial. Over time, you can rewire your neural pathways, making righteous choices gradually easier and more intuitive. You truly can achieve sexual purity while fostering intimacy with your spouse, a path aligned with God's purposes. Let's live according to His standards, rather than conforming to societal expectations. Imagine a life where you're no longer controlled by impulses and temptations, but instead, you're empowered to live in alignment with your values and beliefs. It's within your reach. By embracing the journey toward sexual purity, you're not only transforming your own life, but also creating a ripple effect of positivity and strength. So, if you're ready to take the first step towards a life of true freedom, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to check out our other videos for more inspiring content. Together, let's embark on this journey towards a brighter future.